Mambition, 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 mambition. We should have like a intro unt beats like for
I'll
those
leave that to
mothers who
you, I
can't go
think.
clubbing anymore. We'll bring the club to you. That's right.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Happy
Hi,
New Year,
everyone.
everyone.
Happy New Year. I'm
Yeah.
Alex.
I'm Tiffany, and we're just trying to bring some optimism and joy to this conversation.
Yeah. Oh, you sound really upbeat today.
Yeah, I feel good. I think this year that's definitely my theme. It's like optimism and hope. Yeah, just I mean, I'm not always gonna be like this in terms of I'm not gonna always be happy, but I'm always going to try and have a positive outlook.
Yes. I mean, you've demonstrated that to me in the last 24 hours. We recorded a really, really good episode yesterday. And for some reason, we think the internet disrupted the call. And we can't stitch them together. So, yeah, something went wrong at my end. We have lost a really good episode. So, sorry, guys. But Tiffany sent me a lovely message when I was saying, oh, no, about it. And she said, let me just refresh my memory of your wisdom. He said, this is forcing us to get really good at this. And I thought, nice, I like it. Like, I'm really annoyed and she's seeing the positive.
No, like one thing I've learned about life, and I wish I didn't know this about life or even want to learn this about life, was forced me to learn that you can control what you can control. And unless you have a sort of a positive, not even like positive jumping around positive, unless you have some sort of a hopeful perspective, I think you just get a bit depressed. And that's the truth. Like I will be depressed if I didn't try to just find some sort of like positive perspective on things, because that was a really good episode.
It was. I really enjoyed it.
We're crying. But anyway, it's all good. So today, guys, we're coming back better. We're bouncing back. No, not bouncing back. We're just bouncing forwards. And we're going to just reflect. I think we want to talk about 15 lessons from 2024 because 2024 was a year of wisdom and insights. It was fabulous for us.
Yeah, it really, really was, wasn't it? We spoke to so many amazing people. And I think the big lesson, first of all, is that you can do anything you kind of want to do, I would say. And that just comes from us actually fulfilling, a New Year's resolution from last year and actually just getting on and starting a podcast. And we're like 50 episodes in now?
Oh, wow. Yes, we are. I think we're quite close to 50. I need to check. I remember the first one, we had a guest. We was like, what were we going to ask her? Sarah Madeira. Shout out to Sarah Madeira. I don't know if you knew you were the first Sarah, but now you know.
But yeah, we were really nervous about speaking to you, Sarah. We were like, what are we going to talk to her about? Will she suss out that we're not real podcasters?
Probably did. But, I think it's this kind of sense of, I suppose confidence. Confidence is, I feel like confidence is action. Confidence is, there was a quote I learned a while back about, it's not about shouting affirmations in a mirror. It's about consistently proving to yourself that you are who you say you are. And it's this idea of just showing up and trying things. And even if it doesn't go well, like do it anyway and you get better. And I think that's how you build confidence. It's beyond the affirmations, which obviously has a part to play. But yeah, I think we've learned now that we can podcast because we podcasted.
Yeah.
We started. Yeah.
And, let's pat ourselves on the back again, because I think we've got much better at interviewing people. But, I think, and I like the way as well, let's a final pat on the back for us. I like the way our different styles complement each other. And, sometimes we're like on exactly the same wavelength and sometimes it's slightly different and it just brings a different perspective in. So well done us, basically.
Yes, well done us, and well done to everyone who's been listening. I think it's been amazing just having you guys along for the journey as well. Okay, well, another lesson I think I had in mind was my perspective on what my ambition means to me.
Okay.
Because I was thinking about how, growing up without a mum, I kind of didn't have like a blueprint for what I wanted after, like what I wanted to maybe take from maybe my mum's experiences, or not take. You know how you sometimes rebel against like what your parents did just because
Yeah.
you're different. I don't have anything like that, and I realize now that my ambition is that blueprint for me. So now that I'm almost in this group of mothers, I'm like, I have access to this wisdom, this learning, this journey, so I can now take or leave what I want, and that's been really, really cool.
So you're
To
like
get
taking stuff from like a virtual village, basically.
almost, yeah, because I don't have anything like for my own personal experiences. So it's quite nice to be able to almost talk to other mothers, like unfiltered, and learn from them and listen to them. I think that's, to me, I mean, I feel so blessed to have that.
And hearing like the real stuff as well, not the Instagram perfect stuff of matching outfits and stuff like that, the actual real stuff that goes on behind the scenes, which, you know, that is hard if you've grown up in that situation with having a loss at such an early age, and also then not having that kind of role model to look to. I mean, sometimes it's even having the role model of the things you don't want to do as well, because you learn both of those things from watching your parents. You know, I have learned a lot from my mum, but I've also learned things that I wouldn't replicate. But yeah, I think it's great that you're able to take that from recording this and speaking to people.
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
really positive.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a couple of those things, you know, even going on maybe to maybe like this, I don't know, the third lesson was, you know, specifically, I mean, there's been so much, right? I think about even from like a racial perspective, because that's important. And, you know, I hate to talk about race, but we got to talk about race sometime.
I
Because
think so, you
I
know.
think, yeah, I think you do, because, you know, I'm bringing up children who are, you know, mixed race, and they're they're a minority. I mean, we live in the northeast of England, whereas I don't know if it was a majority of white people, now becoming quite mixed in terms of a lot of black people, but not that many mixed race people. So I'm conscious about how I'm speaking to my children and what I can do from an early age that will impact them positively. So, for example, we spoke to Oluwapelumi, and she was talking about affirmations for her children. Being a black woman, she remembers a mother always telling her she was beautiful, and she does that with her children. And for me now, seeing my children as the minority, it's important for me to have this conversation with them. Like, your hair's curly, but it's beautiful. I'm like, girl, you bad. You know, just telling my children that they will look different to other kids, but that's good for them.
Yeah.
And it's been able to address it earlier on before the kids in schools address it.
Yeah, I think so, because realistically, whatever difference you have, and it's hard to kind of view it as a difference, really, because it is just, it shouldn't be something that people attack. But anything that makes you stand out or that you're different is something other children will target. And hopefully things have changed a lot since our school days. But I think that building of their identity and confidence is super important. And you know, you're doing an amazing job to do that. And I really liked, I know this episode hasn't come out yet, but we talked to Steph Adusai, and she was really inspiring. She talked about growing up as mixed race in the Northeast in the 80s. And I imagine that was extremely different. But I think what struck me was her saying, I never felt, you know, I never fitted with either community fully. And I think that by you helping them have their own identity, you help them fit into both sides of their sort of black heritage and white heritage, and get the best of both of it, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think even, you know, zooming out of even the racial thing, I'm quite fascinated by how, especially when it comes to like appearances and looks, and the fact that women are kind of, it's for women, it's put on a stage, it takes a stage quite a lot, our appearance. Like, often people talk about women's appearances, and I came across research yesterday by the Stylist magazine that 69% of women avoid social engagements because of their lack of confidence, the way that they look. And I realized that a lot of that is not how they actually look, it's their perception of how they look or how society treats them based on how they look. So for me, that the focus, especially for my little girl, the focus on how society will focus on how she looks in some way or another. I want to start these conversations early as well, because I went through a stage of my life where I just didn't feel good about myself, and I was quite young. I felt very, very insecure. Oh, it was intense. And I realize now, because I just never had anyone talk about appearances with me. Like, I just never did. And I think that's insane. Like, how I think as parents, we need to talk about those things, especially to girls, even boys, like body image.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely boys
Yeah.
as well now, much more so than it used to be. And I think, really interestingly, I think, yeah, social media is making a really big difference to that. But I'm 12 years older than my sister, and I think they need somebody to kind of show them where the messaging's coming from, if that makes sense. So that a lot of the messages about how you look, and it's capitalism, isn't it? You are
No,
being
absolutely.
sold.
Oh,
This will
it's
make you happier. This will make you more
oh,
successful. This will make you more attractive. But in order to do that, they have to convince you you've got flaws in the first place. You know, I remember my sister, we were just like, so firstly, when I was younger, I would not have shown up to record a video looking as I do today. I'm like, no makeup, like, I'm wearing about 3 jumpers because it is pretty cold, and I'm like wearing a pajama jacket, and I know that we're recording the video of this, and I don't care. But when I was younger, I would have done. And when my sister was in her early teens, we were going to go over our local shopping centre, which is called the Galleries in Washington. It's hopefully no one's going to hate me for saying this, but it's not the greatest. I hesitate to use the word dump. It's come up in the world in recent years. But she was putting on makeup to go over there, and we were just going over to grab a few things. And I said, oh, come on, we just need to get over there. You don't need to bother putting that on. We're only going to the Galleries. And she said, but what if I see people from school? And I was like, I really hate to break it to you, but you don't look that much different with makeup on to how you look without it. Like, you look fine both ways, and you don't look like a different person. You might look a bit more tired or whatever, but you don't need to worry about it to that extent. And after that, I got her a book about self-image. It's like, I can't remember the name of it. It might be Naomi Klein, but it's called The Beauty Myth is the book. And it's basically like, this is capitalism you're being sold to. Diet, 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 makeup, makeup, makeup.
it's
Now,
insane, though, isn't it?
surgery.
I think it's insane, the messages we get. I really do. And I just think, like what you said there, like, we've got to just address it. And I think we've got to address it with our children, especially with our girls. Like, you don't need to be perfect to be happy. You don't need to be, society's standards to have a good life, because fundamentally what you want is a good life. What you want is to be happy in yourself, to be confident, to face the world, to face your fears, to go forward in life. But sometimes we overemphasize that, how we look in the whole like grand scheme of it. And a lot of it's just, sadly, it's really self-consciousness. So yeah, I think I'm so glad you mentioned that and you're aware of it as well. Because I think we've always spoke about this need to like maybe get your nails done all the time. Like, we both kind of agree that we're not on that flex right now. But I mean, when I get my ring, I might get my nails done for like once in 10 years. But I'm just like super on a database. I'm very basic, because I just think there's more to life than that. Like, I love looking my best, but there's more to life than that.
Same. And like, actually, so last Easter we went out to see our friend's band. He was playing like a one-off reunion gig at a local venue called the Clooney. And I went to that, and basically I normally look like this. I normally don't make a huge amount of effort if I'm just at home. So my next door neighbour was there, and I said hi to him. But like I say, I normally look like this, but I scrub up quite well. Like when I haven't done my makeup, my hair, like I've made an effort. And I spoke to him, bearing in mind I literally see him every day. And this goes against what I said to my sister about you don't look that different. He was like, I said hi to him, and he was like, I'm really sorry, I don't know where I know you from. And I was like, Billy, I'm literally your next door neighbour. And I think that's because he sees this tired, mummy shell of a woman. Shell of a woman. But I don't care. I don't feel any less confident.
That's the thing there, isn't it? It's not caring. And then, like, guys, we're not trying to say it's not good to look your best. It's not good to make an effort. It's not good to, look after yourself.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the caring, overly caring part of it, like over consciousness, overly thinking. I think that's what it is. It's, like, we all look different, and it's just embracing that, right? All right.
And yeah, for sure.
All right,
oh,
let's
we've
move on to
thoroughly covered that one, haven't we?
I know, right? But Alex, I think the next lesson should be about your LinkedIn journey, because I saw that this morning. Tell us more, girl.
It's really funny. So overnight, so I posted something yesterday about basically about realistic resolutions for working parents, and it was stuff like, getting through a full cup of coffee before it gets cold, stop saying things like we're leaving in 5 minutes when we both know that's not going to happen. So people obviously related to that because it's performed quite well and people have been messaging me and stuff like that. But anyway, so thanks to that post, I hit 5,000 followers overnight.
5,000.
Which, it's
the
number
great.
doesn't really matter. It's
great.
all about the growth.
Progress, yeah.
Yeah. So in August, we talk about LinkedIn a lot, and people who aren't on LinkedIn are probably like, what are these two on about?
Yeah,
a bit like I was.
We'll send you the affiliate link, don't worry.
Yeah. Back in August, when I started posting, I just thought it was like a giant CV. But actually, no, but that is literally what I thought it was. I was like, I thought you felt like, I didn't get it at all. I thought when you said, my favourite social media is LinkedIn, I was secretly thinking, what? Weird. Or like, why? That is a weird thing to like. So we just have to think that other people probably think, what?
But I think it's a lesson for any situation. It doesn't. It's not necessarily. It doesn't have to be for LinkedIn. It could be anything you want to do. This idea of pulling yourself out there, being consistent, and seeing the progress and celebrating that progress. So
And for us, it's been a fabulous tool for promoting my ambition, meeting people, meeting guests.
Yeah.
It's been really, really good. But basically, I started on there with next to zero connections, followers, whatever. And in a very short space of time, just through posting every day, I've ended up with 5,000 followers. And it really hasn't taken very long at all. And I think it really is about the consistency and also about posting things and not caring how much reaction they get.
Yes.
That doesn't matter.
Have some fun, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just enjoying it
as well. Yeah, one of our guests, Kendra Pennington, said the same thing. I think she was saying how she went from zero, not much going on her LinkedIn, to now having so many followers, and that's because a lot of times she will just post something, she doesn't overthink it, and I think a lot of women, we struggle with that sense of visibility because again, it comes down to what will people think, overthinking, our inner critic. But just like posting on LinkedIn, it's just about, you could get more opportunities on LinkedIn. We have a community of women who you can have conversations about motherhood and ambition on LinkedIn. So for us, it's not just trying to it's not just a numbers game. It's actually what my ambition is to us, like a bit of therapy, a bit of a group session, a bit of a community support. So whatever your goal is, you can achieve it in steps. Yeah,
for sure. And at first I'd be posting things and maybe you'd like it and that'd be it. Yeah, exactly. But you don't even have to worry about that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And as much as we talk about it, it's I would just say that anyone who's not explored it already, if you are ambitious, if you're looking at your career, building connections in your own industry is a really cool thing to do, because that is where you don't know what opportunities are going to come out of it.
Yeah.
So be invisible.
And I think, what this sense of almost I hate to say it, but almost was it dress like a woman but think like a man or act like a man? I've heard a quote like someone, I hate that, it really sounds cliche, but sometimes I think it makes sense, because I think women are very known for overthinking, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not because we're not good, but I think we just overthink so much that we could mask how good we are. Mm-hmm. And I remember, for example, there's been a couple of people we spoke to that just felt like they kind of didn't see their being a woman as a disadvantage, and I thought that was really interesting. For example, I feel like Sam Spores, sorry Sam, I didn't mean to butcher your name. I feel like Sam Spores has that energy. I was almost trying to get to the bottom of, why are you so ambitious, Sam? Sam, why do you want to be a beauty business? Because I like to kind of ask those little questions, but her response was almost like, well, why not me? Sort of I'm not any different than a man or woman or somebody else. So I think that was quite inspiring to me, because she almost didn't necessarily sees being a woman as a disadvantage to her. She actually sees the strength that she brings, and she knows she's paid the price. She's worked hard, and I think even Sophie Milliken had a similar.
I was thinking Sophie was
going to be well, if not me, who's going to do it sort of energy. And I think we all need a bit of that.
Yeah.
We need an injection of that.
I'd also say you're making me think of Lauren as well, Lauren Curry. So her episode was out quite recently. Lauren's an entrepreneur. She has various different businesses, but her main driver is Upfront, which is her kind of course that is helping women develop their confidence in the workplace and their visibility. And she, I think we've talked about this before, that hard work should speak for itself, but it doesn't. You could be grinding away and working hard in the background and just hoping people are going to think, oh, aren't they amazing? And like credit you for it. Unfortunately, that isn't how it works. You do have to be promoting yourself. You do have to make it known what you're doing. And
Tell people how good you are.
Yeah, but I also like that Lauren says you don't have to do that in a necessarily extroverted way. You can find ways to do that if you're not like me or Tiffany, where you're going to be like, "Way, we're really good."
But no, that I like that, and I think it's just how much this incredible women are inspiring us. Another thing I also learned from Lauren that I thought was really, really good was that tall poppy syndrome conversation around.
Yeah,
she noticing, and it is also statistics shows it, that the more successful women are, the less liked that they are. So this idea that perhaps as women we need to build something in ourselves that can congratulate ourselves and helps us feel okay about the external kind of, not necessarily even maybe contempt or like this. What is the word when people are not even showing like ambivalence almost? Because sometimes people might not even act like they hate you or love you. They're just kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's something I think about when it comes to my daughter, kind of this sense of like teaching her to, even my son, like just congratulate themselves.
Like hype yourself.
Help yourself to feel good about yourself, to say maybe I'm good at this or I've tried this and I've, worked at it and I'm getting better at it. But I think this inner model of self-recognition of you growing as a person and not waiting for other people to say it. Because what about if people are, again, uncomfortable with your success that they won't tell you? So do you then not recognize that you are growing? So again, it's just building that inner model for it.
And I think a lot of that, it's all about the scarcity mindset, isn't it?
Yeah.
That people often don't celebrate other people's achievements because they are worried that their success means there's less success for them to have. And it doesn't work like that. You do have to celebrate other people around you. You should feel good that people are achieving. If you think you're the average of like the 5 people you spend the most time with, you should want them to be successful. If you're going to be successful, you should want them to be successful. And the tall poppy thing, it is really true. But if you have that inner confidence that you can draw on, it doesn't really matter. And Lauren also talked about surrounding yourself with cheerleaders, your own cheerleaders, those people you can rely on who always want the best for you. And I think I've said this before, Tiffany, but you are one of mine.
Get out of here, girl. Send me a check. I
love it.
Services to cheerleading. No, I get that. And I just think, I get that. It's, I think it's a company you keep, isn't it? And I think, there's companies for different aspects of your life as well. And it's maybe having a friend that maybe does this or helps you with this, and a friend in other areas of life. And I think especially as women and whatever your goals are, sometimes you might just need to maybe find a new community to serve that or to support it. Another person we got to talk about is Anouk. I mean, Anouk she dropped some insights, some truth bombs.
Yeah, for sure.
My favorite thing from her was about conversations with children about money. Like I never thought about how much. I mean, my money personality identity is probably a little bit messed up, and I have thought I'll probably have to get some help on that. I think I'm just super frugal, super probably a little bit scarcity about money. I think a little bit about we've got to save it all, hide it somewhere, put it under our pillow, under the floorboards. And I grew up listening to money doesn't go on trees. Manage your money, money saved for tomorrow. Very much like that. And for me and my children, I'm just looking at them thinking, yes, let's teach them to save earlier on. So we have like a money tin, and we go to the bank, and my son wants a tray, which is fair enough. But it's just this idea that letting them kind of have an empowering mindset of money. Like money can work for you. You can invest it. You can get a job, but not just to pay your bills, but a job can be a career, something you enjoy, and you get paid for the value you add. But it's just how we kind of talk about money. What do you think?
Yeah, I think what I really loved from her was the stuff about money buying you freedom that she has, and also, again, to take it back to like men and women, the gap between men and women. And I think we should all be trying to work to close that gap. And, she said that women make better investors, but women are reluctant to do it because they are afraid. They're cautious about it. But that caution's a good thing, because essentially, in a nutshell, what she told us is put your money into your investments and then don't touch it. The market will grow over time. So I felt that like she broke it down into really simple, this is kind of what you need to do. These are the barriers you need to overcome. And hopefully that made it easier for other people to consider doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Being a mum already sort of takes us out of the running a bit for like, I don't know, career progression or even like promotions, because obviously women need more flexibility. Maybe they don't work in the office, so they're not seen and being visible, so they might not be seen for promotion. I mean, there was an article about that from Nationwide, and the CEO, I can't remember her name, might be Debbie Crosby, was saying that working from home might not benefit women. I know everyone's like, oh my God, get a dagger, but she's actually a mum herself. So I thought I really read the article, and what she was saying was that, and not that I, think people should agree or disagree, but I can see the point in it is this idea that when you're not in the office, and men are more likely to be in the office, they can be seen for promotion. But then it's a double-edged sword, right? Because we just have to sometimes work from home because we have the kids. So I think it's been between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, the being seen thing, I can't remember where the research comes from, but there's something about being in the office that people like you more just the more they see you. So
I'm not sure, about that, guys. Have you met me? Work from home today.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently that's the thing that like,
oh dear.
And I think it might have come from Lauren's training actually, that the more people see you, the more they start to kind of maybe identify with you, or basically they did some studies where they studied how much people liked their colleagues, and it just happened that the people they were in the office with were the ones they liked the most. And I think it is because they share those little, oh, do you want to just get a sandwich? Or, that kind of, probably not even the work-related stuff. It's the personal stuff.
Often it isn't, yeah. Often it isn't. It's always personal, isn't it? Oh, no, I never thought about it like that. I'd like to look into that. All right, let's talk about Dr. Anne Welsh. I better address it correctly. So Dr. Anne Welsh said something that I really liked about transition being an opportunity, the opportunities in change, opportunity in transitions. And I really like that, because motherhood in itself, it's such a huge transition, and there's so many, obviously it comes with its own challenges. I mean, of course we have less time. Of course our body changes. Of course our brain probably changes. I need to research that. Of course we have less time, but can we take something good out of it? What gifts can we take out of motherhood? And for me, it's this idea of like clarity, doing less, and which I'm actually okay with doing less. Like, can I do less but do it well? Because the success is not necessarily destined for those who do more. I think it's more about people who do things very well. So I'm trying to, basically see the positives in this stage of my life, and actually think, how can this stage of my life be the best version of my life yet? Clarity. Can I be more intentional? Can I be more kind to myself? Can I accept that time is limited? Can I make the most of it? Can I be present with my children? And maybe I might have to give up something in my career, and I probably will have to, but maybe being a mum is more important. But I'm really seeing the positives in that.
I know that we talked yesterday about Dina Priest had put a post up about every yes that you say is a no to something else by default, and that really reminds me of what you're saying there, that you have to be intentional, because if you just try and people please and say yes to everything, you aren't gonna you're saying no by default to something that might matter to you more. So you can step back and say to somebody, can I think about it overnight and come back to you tomorrow and see if I've got time to do it? Or if I am going to do it, I can't do it till next week. And just have those boundaries a little bit more about what you're saying yes to. Like, don't just say yes to everything.
And I find as well that what makes that work really well is when you think about it in advance, when you actually like almost plan what you're going to say no to. And I think it obviously links to that book we spoke about, Charlie. Yeah. Is it Charlie again? Oh, sorry, Charlie. I'm always butchering your name. Oliver. Charlie? Oliver? Sorry, Oliver. Oliver.
I feel like Oliver Berkman might not be listening.
Yeah, he's like, I'm done with those ladies. Anyway, just this, what Oliver was saying in his first book, 52,000 weeks.
It's some sort of number anyway. It's some sort of number of weeks.
Pregnancy, always blame pregnancy brain forever. Like I have that card forever. But he spoke about this idea of choosing what you're going to fail at, or like almost not even, I mean, we don't have to see as failure, but maybe almost choosing what won't be your priority. And I think that's quite interesting to me, because if you plan in advance, like for example, I don't care what anybody says, I've decided cleaning my house, it's not going to be me. Like I'm not going to be remembered for that. I cannot stand it. So
I'm definitely not going to be remembered for that.
Exactly. So like I'm kind of okay with the fact that my house might be a bit messy, but maybe I'm spending more time with the children, I'm doing more work. But that expresses this idea of, if I think about it in advance and kind of get my priorities together, then maybe you'll have more peace about kind of knowing what you're going to say no to. So when you do say no to it, you feel less bad. You see what I mean? Because you thought about it. It's something you planned, and you kind of know what the priorities are. Because actually, sorry, I'm really, really sorry. I learned something new from this book I was reading, that the word priority, when it first came into the English language, actually came in as a singular term, priority.
Okay. Oh, and it's one priority.
And you actually see that word for 500 years. And it's only after 500 years that we then changed it to a plural, priorities.
Oh, wow.
So it was never meant to be like, I'm balancing all these priorities. And I thought, wow.
Which is really true, because if everything's a priority, nothing is, and that's the trap a lot of people fall into at work. It's like, I've got this priority, I've got this priority.
Yeah. I thought that was quite interesting.
But we've been weirdly in sync, haven't we? I have to confess, I haven't started reading this book yet, but I listened to a podcast. It's also by Oliver Berkman. Oliver! Name check. And basically, it is called Meditations for Mortals. But I listened to him talking on a podcast. It was the Guardian podcast. And he was talking about basically giving yourself the permission to do something as well as it needs to be done, but not being a perfectionist about it. So I think he used the word half-arsing. And he said, not in a bad way, but basically if something requires X amount of effort, give it that. Don't give it more. Why are you making sure something's absolutely perfect when it doesn't need to be?
Well with my anxious overachieving.
But you can stop at good enough. You can stop at good enough. Oh, really? Is that not sitting well with you? I was like, yes, I'm fully on board with this.
What I mean is I like it. And it would definitely take, like, for me, rewiring of my kind of, like I said,
personality.
I think so. Like I've been, like, I think it's, that's really, I like it, because that's, the wagon I'm jumping on for this year, especially like I was saying to you, I've been reading a similar book. But I think it's quite an uncomfortable, maybe fact, something to come to terms with.
He was also talking about, when we were talking about saying yes just before. So he said he never used to like saying no to stuff. And sometimes that by saying yes, you're actually, and then not following through, you actually inconvenience people more. And it would be kinder and like ripping the Band-Aid off to just say, oh no, I can't manage it. So the example he gave was that he would always say yes if people said, can you write an article? He'd say yes, even though he was a bit worried he wouldn't be able to find the time to do it. A few days later, he'd realise he didn't have the time to do it. And then he'd have to go back to them and say, oh, sorry, actually, I can't. And then they were starting again of having to find somebody else to write an article with a shorter time frame for the deadline. And, he was making their life harder. by doing that. So he was trying to people please, but actually it had the opposite effect. So he was like, now if I don't think I could do it, I just say, oh, sorry, I'd love to, but I can't.
Like just telling the truth from the beginning. Because I think it's really hard to say no, because I was reading this in Essentialism, which is by Greg McHugh, and I think it's this idea that we think we're disappointing the people, or we're overthinking the relationship we have of them based on that no but that we're saying. Because when you say no to someone, you think, oh, it might affect the relationship we have, or they might think this of me, but actually, not that people will respect you more, but I think people would appreciate it, a bit of honesty.
Yeah.
And again, it's this idea of the more you kind of know in advance, maybe the things that are not so important to you, the more you can maybe quickly say no. And then you don't have to go and think about it. And I think that's what I'm thinking about a lot. Is that like, if I keep doing this kind of stuff, this journaling, understanding myself a bit, getting my priority in order, then maybe I'll know the things that I'm just not going to do. And then I can quickly say, no, I'm really sorry, or whatever. But if we don't know in advance, I think that's when we kind of go off and say we're thinking when really we're just kind of wasting time. We're not wasting time, but like,
I know what you mean. I've got a friend
delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, I've got a friend who inevitably every year she does the Great North Run. She comes and stays with me. Hey, Sonia. She comes and stays with me from Bradford, does the Great North Run, and then she's really hyped about it. And then she's like, will you run it with me next year? And for about maybe half a day, I think, I could run it next year. But I know that I won't. I know that I will not put in the work to do it.
Yeah.
And so then I've just started saying, nah, I'm not going to do it. I've done it once before when I was 19 and fitter. It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's really not for me.
So you're shortening the time gap between you saying no anyway. You're just shortening, making life do you know what I mean? You're getting to that decision quicker.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it kind of comes to knowing ourselves, and because I think I was saying the other day I was in a shop and I saw a book about Beyonce, and it was like, oh, facts about Beyonce, and I thought, isn't it crazy that we live in a society where there's so much emphasis on knowing about famous people? Some people will know Beyonce is what she had for breakfast, where she was born, but when it comes to themselves, they won't know certain things like what's important to you, or what do you want of life. And I know it's a bit deep and some people think I am a bit intense, but I just think it's so important to know yourself, because the more self-reflection you're doing, the more you can kind of make decisions quicker, I think.
You're right.
Based on what's important to you. But I think because we're so, it's just so normal to not actually maybe spend time by yourself, have a bit of solitary, or think or reflect, then it's just kind of, blowing in all
directions. Parents, it's really hard, isn't it? You've got to choose to have that time.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the things I'm doing this year. Not much of a resolution, but just kind of spending more time thinking about what I'm doing, reflecting a bit more, and starting my day, not just kind of in a rush, but trying to slow down a bit.
Yeah, same, really. Excuse me, I think normally I love making New Year's resolutions, and this year I found it a little bit tricky. We had a big one last year, podcast, did it, smashed it, 50 episodes. The other one I kept last year was I went zero plastic in terms of my toiletries and stuff like that. Going to keep that up. But yeah, I found it difficult to think of what I wanted to do this year. So I think the one that we had as a shared one that we talked about yesterday was taking my ambition to the next level, try and help more people, get more useful and interesting guests on as well. And that's really important to me. I've got written on my notebook, take it to the next level, with a little bit of doodling around it. So that's a big one for me. And that one wasn't hard. I knew that already. But then I was like, but what else? I'm normally I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I am quite good at sticking to them. But I have decided, after saying I won't run the Great North Run, that I'm going to make more of an effort to focus on my health and a little bit of exercise. Now, it comes down to knowing yourself, though. I know I don't want to run the Great North Run. I just don't want to. I don't have that aspiration. But maybe I'd like to do parkrun, and that'd do. Because that's a mile.
It. Daphne said that to me yesterday or the day
really?
before. What's going on here? She actually said, Tiffany, you should get into parkrun. And I was like, can't be bothered. But I'm interested. I like running.
A road where there's a park at the end of my road where they do parkrun.
I'd be up for it. I'd meet you there. I like running. Oh, I do like running. And
I don't.
Bring other people
so you can drag me round.
There you go. I'll chase you. Apparently,
God.
a really good way to like speed up your fitness. Saying someone like, I'm not recommending this, but there was a video somewhere about they get people's like the things they're most scared of to chase them, and people that can't run. So it's like it could be like if you're scared of dogs, the person
I
dressed
don't
up as
like
a dog.
clowns very much.
I could dress up as a, sorry, like I know it'll be traumatic. You will run, Alex.
Okay, well, I wish I hadn't shared this particular
Just turn up.
aspiration.
But I'll be up for park run.
Cool. Well,
Definitely.
so yeah, I'm going to start small. I'm going to have the like small aspirations. I feel like, I mean, we talked to Ruth as well, Ruth Davison, and she
Yes, she's
just
definitely worth a
decided she was going
mention.
to run around a marathon. I am not Ruth Davison. I should have that on a t-shirt. I am not Ruth Davison. She can make herself do some crazy stuff. But yeah, park run's more my lane, I think.
No, I'd be up for that. But yeah, I'm different. I'm not doing resolutions this year. I used to do resolutions. Like, I don't know, a few years ago, I used to be quite on it. Like, I got a list. But one thing I learned quite early on was that if I was waiting until the new year or a certain time to do something, why can't I just do it now? Like the best time
Yeah.
to plan, I always think the best time to plan, and I know I always think the best time to plant a tree is like yesterday. So if I'm going to do something, I just want to do it now. I'm going to do a small section of it right this second so that then it quickly becomes a habit, because I think it takes about 66 days. And then if I could just do something small now, and then all I need to be bothered with is the consistency of it, I found that just helps me to kind of get things done rather than thinking and trying to perfect my idea of what the year should be. But
I kind of like the planning side to it, but
well.
it might be a healthier attitude than my going on a dramatic binge for 2 weeks prior to the new year of like, I'm going to eat all the chocolate in the house and then I'll be healthy in the new year.
Well, I think, I always think motherhood, I don't care what anybody says. And I think Dr. Annie Walsh actually posted something yesterday on LinkedIn that I saw. She was talking about this idea that maybe women don't need to plan or have massive goals for this year. Maybe they just need to recognize that they're in a system that's not created for motherhood and ambition, maybe. So I think, weirdly enough, this is the first time in my life where I actually feel a sense of maybe like a bit of peace with like not doing more, weirdly, because
Okay.
I feel like more is not going to solve my problems. I think for me, it's more just kind of like being mindful of what I'm already doing and doing it well. Like being a mum, I feel like sometimes society kind of looks down on being a mum as if like, oh, you should go to work. There are other bigger goals to achieve. Like
Yeah.
it's on my deathbed, it'll be my biggest priority.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of like just do that and enjoy that,
I
rather than like,
completely agree. I
Yeah.
completely agree. I am an ambitious person. I want to achieve things myself. But at the end of the day, I'm responsible for a whole
Yeah,
little human. And I want their life and experience to be enjoyable. I want to be supportive. And they have to be your priority. Like,
Yeah.
it's got to be people over work and possessions and things like that.
I think so. And I think the more gentle we are with ourselves, the more that will reflect on them, because we
Yeah.
won't just be telling them, we'll be showing them. If
Yeah.
we're not kind to ourselves, if we're not a little bit like, almost treat ourselves sometimes as a child. Like that thing where we went on for example, we went on a trip, guys, and I think we discussed this, and we felt the need to like say sorry when we got back, even though it was not our fault. But I
Yeah,
thought
we were like hours late back home due to a flat
so
tire.
sorry, so sorry. But I was like, no, don't say sorry, because like there's nothing to be sorry about. And what's the point of having ambition and doing and having all these learnings if we're not going to apply it?
And I really struggled with that.
Yes,
really
I
did.
know.
I was like,
I know. So the tip of your tongue. But no,
Pull
I
it
think it's just like, what would you say to your friend in a similar situation? And I think sometimes treat yourself like you would a friend, because we are harder on ourselves.
yeah. Or even like you treat your partner, because if that had happened to Eddie, I'd have been like,
It's okay.
don't worry, it's not your fault.
Or you must have been actually be a bit stressed. So yeah, it's giving that kindness. We already are kind to other people. Like we got plenty of that going on. Let's turn that inwards a bit this year,
I
please.
love that.
Let's kind of like
Yeah.
let's turn it in.
I
But
feel
yeah,
like
guys.
that is something we all need to do, and that's a profound way to finish, Tiffany. Mic drop.
No, but I think it's true. Like I already know I will be kind to people, even if for the sake of social pressure. I will always be a little bit kind. Like I will never be like nasty, because well, there's that pressure. There's this need to please. But what about ourselves? So turn it in.
I like it.
Guys, it's been magical. Before we go, though, we have to shout out to the other guests. I don't want you guys to not think we didn't love everything. Maxine, Michelle Minikin. I don't know if we spoke
This is
about
where you're
Michelle
going to
Minikin.
forget people, though. This is going to be hard.
No, no pressure. We're not. Michelle, Maxine,
Dina, Dina,
Yasmin, Tanya,
Hannah.
Yes, I know. Guys, listen. There'll be another. I'm sure there'll be another episode about learning. Who else have we not thought about? I think we pretty much mentioned everybody.
I don't think we have. If you think we have how many episodes, we need a list. It's not that we don't love you guys, but Amy Lynch, who else? Ashley Blackington, and Sammy Doll. There's so many people. We really, really appreciate every sort of minute that you've given to us, because people have been really super kind, and we'll do a proper thank you episode where we actually have your names written down.
Yes, we will. And for all the listeners too, thank you for giving us a space to be a little bit mad, to rant, because it's therapy. Like, honestly, guys, I'm so happy because I'm doing this. And you guys give us opportunity, you come back and you listen, and please leave us a review, share, comment, share, connect with us on LinkedIn, come and see us rambling on.
As Ted said to me the other day about some video he was watching, smash that like button.
Oh
my God, this is terrifying.
You're free. Yeah, we don't want you to smash that like button. Maybe just tap on your keyboard. Be gentle. Guys, it's been fun. 2025, here we are. We're excited.
Yes.
Cheerio.
Bye.